Hello. In today's video, we'll discuss some similarities between narcissistic families and cults. Have you ever considered the similarities of cults and narcissistic families? There really are a lot. Cult leaders and narcissists demand unquestioning, blind devotion to them no matter what. Cult leaders and narcissists also demand how those under them should act, think, and feel at all times. Anything that doesn't agree with the cult leader or the narcissist is not tolerated. Cult leaders and narcissists are also always right. By default, this means cult members in the narcissist family are always wrong. Questioning cult leaders and narcissists is discouraged and often severely punished. Isolation is extremely important for both cult leaders and narcissists. Relationships with those not in the cult or the immediate family of the narcissist is discouraged. Often the leader or narcissist demands others sever ties in those relationships. Any sort of life outside the cult or narcissistic family is not tolerated. Leaving the cult or narcissistic family is actually looked upon more as a betrayal, and the person leaving is spoken very badly about. Mind games and gaslighting are the norm. They're just a way of life in both situations. Independent thinking is not allowed in a cult or a narcissistic family. The leader believes that he or she has done all the thinking necessary, so those in so-called inferior positions need only to submit to his or her will. It's pretty scary how similar they are, isn't it? The characteristics I mentioned are precisely why it's so hard to heal from narcissistic abuse. Living in this cult-type environment is really detrimental to your mental health. People who have escaped both cults and narcissistic families work on their healing for many years and often their entire lives. Some people may say, just cut ties, or I would leave if I were you. Well, don't feel bad for not doing that as easily as these people think they would. The reasons I mentioned previously are exactly why this is so hard to do. Not only are they talking about abandoning your family or someone you once loved, but thanks to that cult mentality, leaving them is just so much harder than one might think. You feel as if you're committing a horrible act of betrayal, as if you're committing some evil, unpardonable sin by thinking of your own mental and physical health. You are trained to think only of the narcissist, and any concern for your own needs is incredibly selfish and wrong. Going against that deep-seated belief is very hard to do. You also may be afraid of the backlash because narcissists send out a smear campaign to destroy the reputation of those who either go no contact with them or simply defend themselves to the narcissist. Most people who stand up to their abusers end up losing most, if not all, of their friends and even relatives. Not to mention the unknown can be very scary. All you know when raised by a narcissistic parent or two is their warped mentality and way of life. Even though it's awful, it is familiar, and that means there's a degree of comfort in that simply because it's familiar. These things have to be really, really bad to take that incredible leap of faith by leaving the familiar and treading into the unknown. If you were raised in a narcissistic family, please understand that the damage done is incredibly severe. Never get mad at yourself for taking too long to end the relationship or to heal or because you have a lot of issues. Narcissistic abuse is incredibly insidious and pervasive. It's only normal to have a lot of problems after surviving such an environment, even for years after the abuse. Be patient with yourself. Healing doesn't happen overnight, and neither does the ability to escape an abusive relationship. Thank you for watching my video.